Hello, Home Slices. It's Kiera with Home Slice Adulting coming to you with my review for Love and Hip Hop New York Season 7, Episode 12. I'm trying to be more on top of these reviews and whatnot, so this time I'm just coming to you out with a voiceover. But let's just get the little stuff out of the way first, and then we'll end with the Cancun trip. So first we'll start off with Papoose and Remy. We see Papoose filming a weird video about the dark side, and his mom and daughter show up. And Papoose admits that he has been struggling emotionally because of the loss of the baby. And he was like, I never got to meet the baby. And, basically, Remy was only pregnant for a short period of time before they lost the baby, but he already loved it, because it was his. And we saw how happy he was when Remy told him that she was pregnant. And so the mom and daughter think, you are diving into work too soon. You need to take time to emotionally recover. And, that's real true. Some people handle grief in, different ways. They think that he needs to really take time out and recover from that. And he admits that he's kind of depressed about it. And Pab just want to make sure that Remy is okay mentally, and that she doesn't feel like she disappointed him. So we see Remy and Papoose together, and Papoose is like, I'm ready to talk to Remy. Like, I have to talk to her about my feelings. And I'm like, it's a good thing he realizes that, because I hate this whole, stigma or this masculinity thing that men, the only emotion that men can express without being called a wimp or without being called a B word is anger. And so that's just something that I really wish that men would learn how to do, is cope with their many emotions that they have so that it doesn't boil up. But anyway, Remy is very sad and she's grieving, and I really feel for her. It's really sad to see her this way. And her thoughts are consumed with losing the baby, and she feels bad that she can't give Papoose the one thing that he's been asking for. So I told y'all last week that Remy probably felt bad that she didn't give Papoose a baby sooner, and she confirmed it this time that that's something that she was feeling. And it's like when you have a tragedy that happens in your family, you ask a whole bunch of what if questions, and those questions will drive you crazy. And it's like you can't ask yourself, what if this and what if that, because one, it's not going to change anything, and two, you're just thinking negatively about the situation. And Pap tells Remy he doesn't want her to blame herself, and he's absolving her of any guilt that she might feel. And you can see the relief on Remy's face, after hearing that Papoose didn't blame her. And it's like, Remy did not intentionally have an ectopic pregnancy. It happens. It happens to women all the time. So, nobody can blame Remy for that, and Remy shouldn't blame herself. So Pap says, regardless of what happens, he's going to be there and love her. And I'm like, that's real love. And, there are men who leave and cheat on their women just because their women can't have kids, but Pap is going to be there for Remy. And that's why, they are a nice and wonderful example of black love. So next, let's talk about the Whack Creek Squad. We see Peter Guns, DJ Self, Rich Dollars, and Snoop at some type of pool hall. And DJ Self is not with bringing Cisco back into the fold. He's still hung up on the Mariah Lynn thing, even though Mariah Lynn signed his contract anyway, and the whole situation with, him being messy with Major Galore. But Self needs to get over it, because compared to what Cisco did to Peter Guns and Rich Dollars, his little situation with Cisco is very small. So DJ Self was being childish and was like trying to put together plans for some type of revenge against Cisco, but Snoop was like, y'all some like low budget creeps, and I'm with her on that. I'm like, what is wrong with y'all? Y'all just have this weird boys club, and that's exactly what it is, a boys club. Men don't do things like this, but whatever. And they start screaming "Creep Squad" over and over again and chanting it, and I'm like, you can't take these Negroes nowhere. So next we see Peter and Rich were actually okay with DJ's self little plan, because I guess they thought this little practical joke was going to make the air lighter or make the mood lighter between them, make them both feel better. And at first I was like, this ain't gonna go well. And Soph was like, oh, I'm the new sheriff in town. And I'm like, you put washable paint on this man's expensive car. That's not like a sheriff move. What's wrong with DJ Self? But apparently he writes property of Gwinnett on the car. And when Cisco saw it, he was ready to kick Self's butt. But Self ran away because he don't want it with Cisco. And he showed him that, it was washable. And it actually did lighten the mood. And Cisco apologized to everybody. And then it got a little weird where Cisco was like, I'm going to ask each of you if I am my brother's keeper. And if you answer yes, that means we have squashed all of our beefs and we are back to being brothers forever. And so he asked each of them the question, and they say that they are all their brother's keeper. And they do a little creep squad, all hand in chant. And I'm like, this looks like a scene from a straight to Netflix movie starring Lil Romeo. So it was just very weird. Like, what grown men do this? So, before we talk about the ladies going to Mexico, we'll talk about Juelz in charge. And y'all, when they showed this scene of Juelz Santana coming upstairs to find the house in disarray because the kids didn't tow everything up, that was so funny to me. He said he would take care of things while Kim was in Mexico. And the kids are tearing up the house. The dog is eating the toys. The little girl is wearing her Sunday school church dress in the house. And the little boy is riding a bike in the house. And I'm like, this is so funny. So from the looks of it, Kim Bella has been doing a real good job taking care of the kids and taking care of the house. And Juelz realizes that he is taken for granted that the things that Kim Bella does for their family, he's taken for granted that she has done them so well and that she's done them alone while he's been preoccupied in the basement. And he said, spending time with them makes him realize how much he's missing out on while staying in the basement, recording his album or whatever. So hopefully he'll put a higher priority on family time so that everybody can be happy. And, I'm like, that's why I never shame a stay-at-home mom. Staying at home and taking care of kids and not having any adult interaction, that's never fun. So, I salute stay-at-home moms just as much as I salute working moms because everything that a woman does for herself and her family has value. So, but it was nice to see Juelz in this light, taking care of his family because nothing is sexier than a family man. But finally we get to this trip in Cancun, and it was interesting because, it's odd because we never see them go on trips. And, all the trips in all the Real Housewives series always turn out to be a hot mess. And I guess this time was kind of not different. First off, we see Juju, J, Adrian, and Kim Bella show up to the hotel, and this resort looked amazing. They had a little acrobatic show in the middle of the lobby, and I'm like, what? And drinks were flowing. It was like, this is nice. So Kim Bella says, well, it's mommy's week off, and Juelz is at home with the kids. And, Kim Bella finally gets a little break because those kids look like they know how to tear up a house. So Kim was happy to get a vacation. So Juju tells them that she has excerpts from her book for the girls to read. And it's like, I'm already not with the name of the first chapter, Brenda, the Booty Call. It's like, it's reading like an urban novel. And I don't like urban novels, just personally. But, there's plenty of people who love urban novels. And so they'll probably go out and buy it. So Yandy and Bianca show up and everybody's like, oh, Bianca, why Bianca here? Now, I've already said on my latest Real Housewives of Atlanta review that I hate when on these reality shows and in real life, if I invite you somewhere and I don't say, hey, you can bring a +1, or if you don't ask me, hey, can I bring a +1, don't bring a +1. That annoys me so much. And I said before, it's rude and inconsiderate to the host, but one thing I forgot to mention is that by integrating this new person, you change the dynamic of the group who I intended to come. If I'm bringing you on this trip, that means I feel comfortable saying things around you, doing things around you. And when you invite this extra person in that I'm not comfortable around, but now I can't do what I want to do or say what I want to say because I'm not comfortable around this person. And that's why I didn't invite him. But whatever. Yandy says that she's bringing Bianca to work. And Kimbella is like, well, I guess since you bringing work to vacation, you're going to be working on some stuff for Juelz as well. And it's like, here we go again with Kimbella getting involved in something that she really should have no business in. Bianca is saying, she feel like she imposing, but she's hoping that it's not too awkward. But it is. And Juju is not here for it. But they all leave and let Yandy and Kim talk for a little bit. And Kimbella, of course, is trying to get back into to Juelz's business and asking what's going on. And Yandy's like, I cannot tell you that. I don't know what's wrong with Kimbella, but she just don't get it. But Kim ends up telling Yandy the exact same thing that Juelz told Yandy during this last episode, and Yandy was right. She was like, you're telling me something that Juelz already told me himself. Okay, I don't need to hear it from the both of y'all. What you need to realize is that if you want to know anything about your man's business, you need to go talk to your man. And Kim just didn't get it. And I was like, Kim needs a career or a hobby or something. I mean, being a stay-at-home mom is cool, but when you have a little bit too much time on your hands where you feel like you need to be the go-between between your man and his manager, you need to find something to do so you can mind your business. But anyway, we see Bianca, Cordy B, Hennessy, and Mariah Lynn. So Bianca's supposed to be riding on this trip, right? But she invites these girls. She invites Cardi and Hennessy, and then Cardi invites Mariah Lynn. And it's like, this is why you don't bring plus ones, because they be bringing more plus ones, and by the end of the trip, it's plus 4. What the heck? So Bianca and Mariah Lynn have a conversation that I don't really care about, and Mariah Lynn deduces that Sky used her to get at Drewski or whatever, and they do this whole elementary school thing where it's like, promise me that you're not going to be friends with her no more. And they hug it out, and Mariah Lynn throws Bianca in the pool and ends up losing her wig. So, whatever. It's later that night, and the ladies are splitting up because Kimbella and Yandy are not getting along. So, J. Adrian is with Yandy, and Juju is with Kimbella at a different place. And so, Bianca sneaks off to go have drinks at a club with the girls, and Yandy and J. Adrian happen to be in the same bar. Now, was that a coincidence? I don't think so, but whatever. Yandy goes over to Bianca to talk to her about why did you invite these girls who are a distraction to you on a trip where you're supposed to be working on your business. And Mariah Lynn was getting on my nerves trying to make herself feel important in something that was not even about her. If I bring my client here on a trip where she's supposed to be doing work and she invites friends that she can turn up with instead of doing what her intended job was here, I'm going to have a problem with that because she's doing it on my dime. And it had nothing to do with Mariah Lynn. And like I said, she was trying to feel important, but she really wasn't. And that's the problem with Mariah Lynn, is that she doesn't know what the role of a manager is because all of the managers she's has ever had or have all screwed her over. And so she don't know what a real manager look like. So sit down somewhere, Mariah Lynn, and get a real manager and not DJ Self, who's just playing manager. But anyways, Yandy is talking to Bianca about this trip it's supposed to be for work, and I was like, it was a little bit hypocritical of Yandy because Yandy for sure invited Bianca, but you don't invite distractions if you're going to work. So especially on my dime. So I get that. But on a different note, if you really wanted her to come here to concentrate, then what you could have done is taken her to some type of spa or some type of resort where there would not be distractions like a club or alcohol. It's like Mexico, or Cancun is not known for being the calm, quiet place that you go to namaste and, write lyrics. So, it's a double-edged sword. Both Yandy and Bianca can take responsibility for how things were messed up. But, Mariah Lynn, Hennessy, Cardi B. I mean, Cardi B really wasn't tripping, but nobody has any right to feel any type of way about what Yandy was saying, because Yandy was not attacking the girls. She was saying that Bianca needs to be serious about what she's doing. And I was like, Mariah Lynn is acting like, oh, well, Bianca finished her homework, so she should be able to come outside and play with us. And it's like, Bianca is supposed to be doing a job. There's a difference, Mariah Lynn. Shut up. Anyways. So, the situation got real weird between Yandy and Bianca, to the point where Bianca cried a little bit because Yandy is so supportive of me. But sometimes when you're just so busy, I do my own thing, and I figured that I could turn up. And so I'm like, oh, so this is a running theme with Yandy being so busy that she don't have time for her clients, because Juelz feel the same way. But whatever. Eventually, Yandy is like, if you lose Bianca, I lose. And so you can go have fun with your girls tonight, but, tomorrow we're going to get down to business. So there's this empowerment brunch, whatever that means. And Juju actually had like a more positive outlook on making the girls' trip the best that it could possibly be. And that since Bianca invited some more girls, it was just going to be a bigger girls' trip. But she was really trying to get Yandy and Kim to work things out. So Kim thinks that Yandy does not listen to her. And I'm like, you know what? Yandy don't listen to you. Then they start crying and they have a weird relationship, but that's what they do. So they make up. The rest of the girls show up, and I'm like, before Mariah Lynn even opened her mouth when she was talking to Yandy, I was like, I know Mariah Lynn was going to be on some BS. And like I said, shut up, Mariah. You're not important. And she was like, I could feel the shade that Yandy was throwing. And Yandy didn't throw shade. She was being about her business, since that's what an actual manager does. And Mariah Lynn wouldn't know nothing about that. So they have a little twerk off, and all the ladies are having fun, and that's real cool. So later on, the ladies are reading the excerpts out of Juju's book, and Yandy is not happy. So like initially I was like, it's weird if Juju used Yandy's story and didn't say nothing to Yandy about it. And so Yandy felt blindsided. But then when they all have a conversation together, Juju was like, Yandy, don't make this book about you. We have all dated successful people, and we have all dealt with Instagram thoughts. So apparently that story is supposed to be able to reach a whole bunch of women, and it was not your story specifically. So after hearing Juju's side and hearing the other women's side, I'm like, it's possible that Yandy is just taking it a little bit personally. And that's indicative of two things. One, Yandy is too sensitive, and she was being selfish in making the book about her. And then two, the book is so relatable that Yandy actually saw herself inside the characters in the book, which is what a book is supposed to do anyway. So Juju, already wasn't here for Yandy bringing Bianca on the trip, so she was already a little on edge. But when Yandy was accusing her of saying, hey, you took my story and you wrote about it and you didn't tell me nothing about it. And, Kimbilla was right. You're not asking her, hey, is this about me? You're saying, why did you write something about me without talking to me first? So Juju was officially over it. And Juju was like, Yandy ruined the whole trip. First she brings Bianca, and then she talking to me crazy, and she don't want it with me, and I'm done. So, Yandy ended up proving Kim's point that, Yandy is all about herself, when she couldn't even say one thing, not one good thing, about protecting Juju's feelings or being compassionate towards Juju during that whole exchange about the book. And so Kim was right about her being a mean girl. So, yeah, things aren't going good for Yandy, but you know, what's new? So next time on Love and Hip Hop New York, we have Yandy and Juju continued, having their little conversation. Cardi B has a conversation with Hennessy about being her own woman and, you know, making herself proud. Ashley picks out a date for her father, Rich Dollars, and I think that the date is Ashley's mama, but we'll see. Peter Guns is right back on some BS. It looks like he's back on some BS because Amina and Tara have a little conversation, and we'll see how resolved it gets because Amina was like, well, I can come back to you, you know, if you want. I was like, these ladies, what is it? What type of lady magnet does Peter Guns have in his pants? Okay, anyways, Samantha and Yandy are back at it again, but now Kimbella is in the mix. But Samantha's mama, who just had some type of uh, cardiac event, is now trying to jump on Kimbella. This is why I can't mess with none of these women in this whole baby mama drama. It's like, one, Kimbella shouldn't have got involved, but if you just had some type of cardiac event just a few weeks or a few months ago, you don't need to be trying to jump on nobody. So I don't even know if I believe if that was true or not. So it's a hot mess, you guys. I'm ready for this season to be over of Living Hip Hop, like low key. But I did kind of like this episode. Thank you all for watching. You know, stay tuned for some more videos. I'm going to try to expand my channel by actually doing more than just reviews. So be on the lookout for that. Thanks for watching and peace out, home slices.